Minute is rated R. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is also rated R. We're going to spend this time discussing the movie in gory detail, and along the road we will talk about some adult content and use some of our favorite swear words.
Thou rudesby, thou nuthook, thou horn-mad dogfish.
Consider yourselves warned. Welcome to Rocky Horror Minute, where we spend as much time as we need to discuss a minute of the Rocky Horror Picture Show in excruciating detail. We are on minute 2, and I am your host, Leandra Lynn.
And I'm your co-host, Kelly Hansen.
Kelly, how about you talk about what this minute is all about?
All right, so we're continuing science fiction double feature, the classic song. We at the end of last minute we heard something went wrong for Fay Ray, so that continues. Fay Ray and King Kong. They got caught in a celluloid jam. Oh, then at a deadly pace, they came from outer space. And this is how the message ran. And then we go into the chorus, and we get through the chorus up to Forbidden Planet. So, science fiction, double feature. Dr. X will build a creature. See androids fighting Brad and Janet, and Francis stars in Forbidden Planet. That's where it cuts off. Now, the classic lips freeze frame right before the chorus, and we start seeing some credits. We get to see all the main characters listed off up through Columbia. So we have Tim Curry plays Frank, a scientist. Susan Sarandon plays Janet Weiss, a heroine. Barry Bostwick is Brad Majors, a hero. Richard O'Brien plays Riffraff, a handyman. Patricia Quinn as Magenta, a domestic. And Little Nell plays Columbia, a groupie. But a groupie for whom? One of the big twists of the movie.
One of the things that I didn't talk about in the first minute was this. We saw on the title screen that it was a Lou Adler, Michael White Productions, and I just wanted to throw this out there. Michael White was the producer of the original London production of Rocky, and Lou Adler was a big-time producer. He also directed a couple of movies. I think my favorite one on that list is Cheech and Chong, Up in Smoke. But to me, he's best known for producing Rocky, Shock Treatment, and of course, Rocky Horror Picture Show Let's Do the Time Warp Again, which came out semi-recently and was so great if you like bad things, which I do.
Is that that documentary?
No, it is it was for, I want to say, the 40th anniversary in 2016. They they had a new made-for-TV version of the movie, and they recast it with a bunch of the younger actors, of course.
Is this the Fox one?
Yeah, it's the Fox
Oh,
one.
oh, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know that as the Fox remake. I'm sorry to any fans who love that version, but I could not make it through science fiction double feature. So
It's cute. It's a love letter to Rocky. And if you look at it like that, then it's fine. But if people go, "Oh, it's here to replace Rocky," then no, it is not.
for all I know, it's a wonderful movie. I turned it off halfway through the opening number, so I have no idea.
I made it a little bit further, but
Yeah.
I also didn't get all the way through, if I'm being honest.
I think it's hard to recreate something if its charm was kind of the camp and cheapness, as Frank Zappa would say, which I think is the case with Rocky. But that's
Yeah.
just a personal opinion.
So sorry for jumping back in time. And if you're just now listening, we're now back to minute 2.
Yeah. All right. I gotta try and remember, the full minute.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we're back. So I guess we start with Frankenfurter. That's It's the obvious parody of Frankenstein. If you're just now getting that, then we will we will probably not speak slower, but you can listen to this a little bit slower.
Yeah, you can some people like to do it on listen to their podcasts on, like, double speed or 1.5. You should probably slow yours down to point 0.5 speed.
Yeah, but we will sound more drunk, just as a warning. So Tim Curry played Frankenfurter, and in case you've never heard of Tim Curry, he started out in musical theater. He met Richard O'Brien during a production of Hair, and right before doing Rocky Horror Picture Show, the year before, he played Puck in a production of Midsummer Night's Dream. And
What I wouldn't give to see
yeah,
that.
that that likely was some beautiful theater. I really wish that I was able to go see that. And a couple of highlights of his performance, really just talking about his very distinct accent. He played around with a couple of versions and then finally kind of landed on this posh British accent that we all have grown to love and adore.
Yeah, he does really ham it up in this movie. I mean, he overdoes the accent so much that it is the basis for a few callbacks, which we'll get to when we get there.
But he's no Nigel Thornberry, that's for sure.
No, yeah, that's even more ridiculous.
Uh,
Nigel Thornberry might be my original introduction to Tim Curry. No, he was in a bunch of kids' movies. That man, well, he would take any voice work.
he would, and I am so happy that he
Yeah.
did.
No, I mean, yeah, he has obviously an iconic voice.
So moving right along, it was Susan Sarandon next. She played Janet, a heroine. The
I guess
the
we could call her that.
Yeah, she's definitely something. She didn't have a lot of stuff going on in her career before this. She really took off after. Uh, but she did have some roles in movie and TV.
Yeah, I was thinking she must be, I guess, must have been better known than Barry Bostwick. She got billing above him.
Yeah, she had a couple of like leading roles in movies and a couple of recurring spots in TV. But most people were like, I don't really know this person. But later on, she went on to star in lots of films. My favorite, because I'm definitely a little lot of gay, is Witches of Eastwick and Little Women. Unfortunately, she's also gotten pretty political in the past several years, but I'll holster those thoughts for a later day.
Yeah, same with Richard O'Brien. While we're there, he's had some unfortunate remarks. We
Yeah,
we don't support the comments made by actors in the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
they do not reflect our opinions unless they're saying that they fully endorse Rocky Horror Minute.
That's true. If so, I'll completely slut it up for Richard O'Brien. I don't
Oh,
care.
for sure. But that kind of segues nicely into somebody who we do love, and that is Brad, a hero, played by Barry Bostwick. The Rocky Horror community has taken to calling him Uncle Barry, and he is kind of loved by all. He really gets what Rocky Horror is. If you see him at a con, he's having a great time, and he's definitely ready uh, to play around and laugh. Before Rocky, he was in Greece, and after Rocky, he did a lot of fun stuff. But I think my favorite thing is Spin City.
When you say Grease, he was in the movie Grease?
No, he was in
Oh,
the Broadway. Yeah, in the Broadway. You
okay.
know, words. They sometimes have meaning. Recently Uncle Barry has gotten into some pretty fun, campy movies. He was FDR in FDR American Badass, and I had the distinct honor of watching the premiere of Helen Keller versus the Nightwolves with Uncle Barry, and he was excellent in that.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can even really call myself a Rocky Horror fan because I've never met Barry Bostwick, which it seems like everyone else has.
Don't worry, it'll happen. You'll bump into him and it'll be like, "Oh, Rocky Horror. I'm fantastic." and you agree with me, and you'll go, "Yeah, that's true." And our cast, the song transducers, we have a mascot. It's an 18-inch tall blow-up doll named Consuela Brigida Majors, and I took her to a con and got her signed by Pat Quinn, Little Nell, and Barry Bostwick. And Barry Bostwick wrote directly on this 18-inch tall blow up doll's vagina to Consuela, "It tain't all that bad." So if you're wondering what type of awesome Uncle Barry is, it's that type.
Yeah, definitely uncle energy.
Yeah,
Um, so all right, we had Richard O'Brien, of course, as Riff Raff.
for sure. You pulled all this together. Rocky really sprang from his brain. We can talk a little bit more about the production side of who he is maybe later on in the next minute. But other than Rocky, he's known for Rocky stuff. He also did Shock Treatment, and he was in Dark City and the Dungeons and Dragons film. A lot of people may know him as the host of the Crystal Maze. He's iconic for a lot of reasons.
Absolutely. And then we love Patricia Quinn in this house,
Oh,
so
we do.
that's our next character, Patricia Quinn as Magenta, a domestic.
And I talked a little bit in the first minute about how she was a bit miffed about not getting to sing the song, the science fiction double feature, but she's really had a great time in the Rocky community. She goes to these cons and she's just surrounded by people who adore her, and rightfully so. An interesting fact: the role of Magenta slash Usherette was originally offered to somebody else. That it was Marianne Faithfull, but she declined. She decided to go on Walkabout instead. So they offered the role to Patricia Quinn, and she accepted. She also has done a fair number of other things. She was in a Doctor Who episode, one of the original series, and she was in a Monty Python film. And she was classically, I believe, topless in that one. It's,
Which Monty Python film?
uh, I want to say it's Meaning of Life,
Okay.
but that might not be true.
There's a lot of toplessness in that one, so that would make
Yeah.
sense, yeah.
It's the one where they're no, they're teaching sex ed um, to the kids at private school, and
That's
they
Meaning of Life, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they bring in I think it's the wife in that skit, and the wife is Patricia Quinn.
Oh, wow, I'm gonna have to rewatch it now. I haven't seen that since I was a kid,
Yeah,
and so I didn't know at the time. As you can tell, my parents were really responsible about which movies I was allowed to watch.
yeah, same. This is
Um,
what happens when the TV is your babysitter. You do podcasts of weird shit.
God help me if my mom ever listens to this. Oh, all right. So next we had our final cast member that was announced in this minute, which is, of course, Little Nell as Columbia, a groupie.
And just little Nell, she is equally adored in the Rocky community. Really, the holy trinity of Rocky horror actors in that go to cons is Magenta, Little Nell, Barry Bostwick, and she's great. It's her name's Nell Campbell, and before doing Rocky, she was definitely doing a lot to make her way out in the world. She sold clothes, she designed clothes. She was also a soda jerk. She got the role that ideally, or I guess realistically, because she was also a really good tap dancer.
Yeah, I read that she actually was like tap dancing as a soda jerk and got offered the role after kind of an impromptu audition. Is that the case?
That's definitely what I've heard,
Yeah.
but
And
she's
then
great.
Another factoid I learned was that when she was selling her clothes in Kensington Market, her stall was right next to Freddie Mercury's.
And I can only imagine what sort of conversations they probably had, like, "Oh, to be a fly on the wall."
So that's our cast so far. We have a few more members coming in minute 3, but you're just gonna have to wait. The science fiction references in the song this week were, of course, King Kong. Fay Ray and King Kong got caught in a celluloid jam.
Oh, that's how it ends. Still on the edge of my seat from last week.
Yeah. So what is a celluloid jam, Leandra? You know a lot more about the logistics of film.
So, celluloid is a fancy word for film, and a celluloid jam is when the film on your projector, the reel mangles up and jams. And that's kind of what they're alluding to.
Yeah, I guess I don't know why King Kong specifically, but that's a question for Richard O'Brien. Then of course they say it came from outer space. That's the title of a movie. And then Dr. X will build a creature. He does not build a creature in that movie, so I guess that was sort of just to as a hint at what was going to happen during the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Maybe after the celluloid jam, all of the films got mixed together.
That makes sense. And then they name drop Brad and Janet, which is our first true direct reference to what's going to happen in the movie. Although they, to my knowledge at least, they are not fighting androids at any point in the movie. So I've never quite understood that line.
The thing that irritates me is they don't refer to Brad and Janet at the same time as they do on the film. So they sing Brad and Janet, but you don't see their names on the screen at that time.
Yeah, I also noticed that. I don't get it, but well, I guess they could only do so much for the timing, I guess. But
Yeah.
and Anne Francis stars in Forbidden Planet again, pretty direct. So the movies referenced there were King Kong, It Came from Outer Space, Doctor X, and Forbidden Planet.
And have you seen any of these films? I haven't. I don't think I've seen any other than King Kong.
I've seen bits and pieces of some of them. I have only seen the Jack Black version of King Kong, which I'm sure is almost identical.
Oh, I'm sure.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
that
haven't seen it, but sight unseen. Yeah,
yeah,
shot
but
for shot remake.
yeah, I haven't actually watched any of these from beginning to end. I know Forbidden Planet is the Tempest.
Yeah, I have heard that. I haven't seen it though.
Yeah, one of these days. So that was all I had for actual minute discussion. Do we have any audience participation for this?
Yeah, we're still kind of early on in the movie, so the AP lines are pretty well known. So it's Fay Ray and King Kong. They got caught in a celluloid jam, a 69, but at a deadly pace. I came on where? Janet's face. And then and this is how the message ran. Um, what I've seen a lot of Trixies do for this when they're doing the dance is that's when they kind of gesture for somebody to run behind them with a sign that says message.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's just letter boards, and it's a lot of people running by that says message. And there's science fiction double feature, Dr. X, sex, 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 sex will build a creature. And there's not a whole lot that's AP about that, but for CA androids fighting, you also add in and fucking and sucking.
definitely. I've got gestures for all these callbacks when I play Trixie, as I'm sure most people do.
Yeah, there it really is, this is one of the minutes where if you have a very entertaining Trixie, this is a good fun part to watch. So we definitely got cut off at some point. So hopefully we talked about, that super secret kind of alternate piece of credits, the one where they give you the secret to life, the universe and everything. Hopefully that didn't get cut out because I'm not saying it
Oh
again.
yeah, absolutely. So that's all I had for this minute, though. Did you have anything else?
Yeah, I think that that's all that I had too.
Then I guess we will sign off. I'm gonna go with our sign off that we use on Cast. Now, you
You
don't
don't have
have
to
to go
go
home,
home,
but
but
you
you
can't
can't
stay.
stay here, so get the fuck out. That wasn't bad.